So, Kuro is going to be taking us all on a wild ride starting next year. Not just for Wuthering Waves with 2.0, but also for PGR with their version Synchronization Plan. Recently, Solon put out a video explaining the reasons why they're proposing this plan. Basically, it's because of spoilers and aligning feedback of global players with the CN players when new patches come out. Pretty much what you'd expect for the reasoning behind accelerating servers. Anyway, on the official PGR site, the PGR team put out the specific details of the version Synchronization Plan. So, let's talk about it because this plan will decide what our experience in PGR will look like in 2025. Starting with dailies and weeklies, the rewards will scale based on the number of integrated versions. So that means that if there's 2 integrated versions, we'd get double the amount of rewards. If there's 3 integrated versions, we'd get triple. Now, before I continue, let me tell you what the phrase of the day is. Will be scaled with the number of integrated versions. Yup, throughout this plan, you will find that most of the rewards will be scaled to the number of integrated versions. Material stages and authority level rewards, they will scale with the number of integrated versions. Daily sign-ins, they too will scale with the number of integrated versions. Phantom Pain Cage, Warzone, Clash Reflection, and Normal Revival Plan, yup, you guessed it, their rewards will scale with the number of integrated versions. The exception to the rule are rewards that are gained externally by relation like nameplate rewards. Now for the version and festival sign-in, it's worth pointing out that if multiple versions originally offered these rewards, those rewards within those integrated versions will be integrated into one sign-in event, thus maintaining the total rewards and content that you'd be receiving from the original altogether. As for the shop that has version-specific items, the version-specific items will be released in the shop over time, though purchase limits will remain the same. While we're on the topic of shops, the War Shop will have their 6-star memory material picks be purchased for a discounted price, and for the Voucher Shop, the 6-star Resonance memory material picks and Inverse shards will also be going up for a discounted price. Now, we don't know by how much they are discounted by, but just know that both discounts will scale with the number of integrated versions. As for version-specific events, certain version-specific events may undergo adjustments as necessary. When an event is no longer included in the integrated version, it will be replaced by a new set of version missions that players can complete to claim the rewards that were available from the removed events. These new version missions will consist of basic tasks like logging in, using serum, and first-time clearance of PP Cage and Warzone stages. And finally, for the event news missions, the missions and rewards that are not included within the integrated version will be transferred to a separate section where players will retain access to these rewards. So here's the thing, this plan sounds pretty good on the surface, especially for the free-to-play players. It makes a ton of sense how the rewards from our dailies and weeklies alongside other activities scale to the number of integrated patches we get. However, this plan operates on an assumption, and that assumption is that you are someone who logs in every day. You see, for the case of the daily resources and rewards, something that carries this amount of weight carries a higher level of risk. For instance, during a 3-version integrated patch, if you miss out on one day, you miss out on 3 days worth of rewards. It's one thing where without the plan, missing one day is not a big deal, but with the plan, one day kind of hits different. I'm sure there's those of you out there who are like, wow, just log in every day, lamau. Look, for some of us out there, logging in and playing PGR for 365 days is simply unfeasible. We're going to miss out on a day or two. Hell, even for me who tries to play almost every day, I also end up missing some days here and there because that's just how life works. That said, I still do find this part of the plan to be a little agreeable. However, it's important that I talk about the risk that we global players are facing, as it will be important when I talk about So, before I talk about the paid content, let me just say that it's important to care about those who spend money on this game. At the end of the day, they are the ones who are keeping the lights on for Kuro. For you free-to-play players, consider yourselves lucky that Kuro's generosity towards free-to-play players in PGR is the absolute best in the gacha market. That said, the amount of care placed upon free-to-play players should equally be extended towards their spenders, who should feel respected for having spent money on the game. So, please keep that in mind. Anyway, let's start with the Tactical Assessment Manual, the Battle Pass for PGR. So for the free track, much like the others, the rewards will be scaled to the number of integrated versions. Now for the 2 paid tracks, they can be purchased up to the amount of time scaled to the number of integrated versions. This means that if there's 3 integrated versions, you can purchase these tracks up to 3 times each. Now, this sounds fair, but this actually poses an issue, but we'll touch on that later. Next up are the packs starting with the limited supply packs. For these, the purchase limit will be increased with the exact number adjusted according to the number of integrated versions and actual circumstances. Now, this is interesting as these packs are tied to their corresponding versions, so having an increase in purchase limit sounds good, but I'm a little on the fence about how this is described because the wording is different from how everything else is described. For monthly passes and packs, there will be new monthly pass related specific packs for black cards, weapon research, and character serum. These packs will retain the same price and the same number of items obtained as the original monthly passes. Now, here's the thing. The amount of purchases for these packs are set at a limit that is 1 less than the number of integrated versions. For instance, if there's 3 integrated versions, the purchase limit is 2. Okay, now that I talked about the packs and the battle pass, let's talk about the issues behind this. For the monthly pass related specific packs, you may have noticed something, and that's the fact that we are essentially missing 1 purchase of a pack. Which makes no sense because if there's 3 versions, there should be 3 packs. Sure, if the battle pass operates under the equal time equal rewards methodology, these monthly passes should operate similarly. Though this also puts into question how these monthly passes would work, as these limits are imposed based on how they operate. You see, the way these passes work is that you get a set amount of rewards instantly, and then you receive a set amount of rewards every day you log in for a span of 30 days. So, if you were to buy multiple of these passes, then you would be extending the amount of days to receive those rewards. The reason why this is an issue is because the timing itself doesn't scale with the timing of the versions. Basically, it's making those gains slower than that of the versions themselves, which makes no sense. And remember, they operate under the same price and same number of items. If anything, it's better to stack those rewards on top of each other within the same time frame per purchase and keep it in line with the integrated versions. But let's say we work things out in a way that would scale with the number of integrated versions like the Battle Pass. It would seem fair, but then there are still some fundamental issues that would make this somewhat problematic. For whales out there, they're relatively going to be unscathed considering the amount of disposable income they would have, but for medium to low spenders like me, there's a bit of an issue. Notice that there's no mention of a discount. The reason why we are okay with what we have without the plan is because we can space out our spending to obtain whatever we want per version if we do so wish, especially when we consider that each version is around 5 weeks long. However, if 2 to 3 versions get crammed into one version that lasts for 6 weeks, that's basically saying we're cramming what would happen in 2 to 3 months into 1.5 months. Now, some of you might be confused about this point and might say, well, duh, that's the whole point of this plan. Let me put it in another way. I too wish I can cram 2 to 3 months worth of pay into 1.5 months. You see the problem now? This is a bit of an unrealistic ask. I think it's more reasonable for us to ask for a discount or a resource increase due to these circumstances. I do expect some pushback with this suggestion as those in CN would feel cheated if we got a discount or a resource increase per pack, but this is why I mentioned the risk involved from the last section. This plan operates on the assumption that we would be able to reap all the rewards in equal nature if we log in every day. Well, let me entertain you with another assumption. There are mid to low spenders out there who can't log in every day. If anything, they probably log in and play the game less than you think, and to that end, they might get hit harder by missing a greater number of days. Then there's the fact that we are getting the same experience as CN but in a rushed manner. Especially with the FOMO involved, I don't think discounts are out of the question. Anyway, there's 2 more things to talk about in the paid content section, so let's talk about it. For the coding supply packs and coding research events, the offerings of the limited discount codings and the coding banner will be extended to the end of the next version, which sounds fine on paper, but the same issue I talked about in terms of timing still applies here, though this one feels a bit more lax by comparison. And finally, for the paid content related to the new A-rank characters of integrated versions, the instant upgrade bundles of the corresponding characters will be removed, and instead, new version-specific missions will be introduced, allowing players to obtain the A-rank character inverse shards upon completion up to a maximum of 320 shards for each new A-rank character. These missions appear to revolve around a specified serum consumption target within the version. If I'm reading this correctly, it appears that this system is available for everyone, which, if true, would be huge. And that's it. That's the plan as far as we know. Okay, so this plan may seem fair on the surface, but It operates on some serious assumptions. First, if we can log in every day, we can obtain all of these snazzy rewards that we are owed. To me, I can accept that to a certain extent, but we must recognize that it comes with a risk where missing a day is going to hit harder than usual. Then there's the other assumption where some of us spenders are able to buy 3 months worth of paid content within 1.5 months, which yes, it's ridiculous. There's also the question over how the monthly passes will operate as they retain the same amount in price and resources. On top of that, we have one less on our buy limit based on the number of integrated versions, and the monthly pass doesn't operate with the timings of having 3 months crammed into one. Overall, I think we should either have discounts on our packs or increase in the amount of resources we can get from each, and for the monthly passes, stack the rewards on top of each other per purchase instead of days, to coincide with the timings of the integrated versions. Now, I understand that this is a developing situation, and I still stand by the idea that having global be accelerated to CN is a good thing. But it's also important to scrutinize the plan and understand the nuance behind how we, the players, would receive these changes. I hope we hear more about their plans, like how they're going to structure their integrated versions or other changes to their plans, maybe some more specifics. That said, now it's time more than ever to give your feedback to Kuro about this plan, as this will determine if 2025 will be the best time ever for us or the most turbulent time. On top of that, when the plan is in action next year, if there's any issue that arises from the synchronization plan, still speak out. It's not over until the plan is over. Anyway, put down in the comments what you all think about the current plan, your thoughts and concerns, because I'm curious to see what you all think about the future of PGR. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions like this. Alright, see you in the next one. Bye!